So without any further ado, here he is for the first time on Busted Open After Dark as Ricky Saints. What's up, Rick?
Wow. You know, what a great follow-up guest from our previous guest. You know what I'm saying?
That one guy who was on last week with me?
Yeah.
What's that kid's name again?
You know, he's going to make it. The Undertaker.
The Undertaker. The Undertaker.
My favorite.
Did you happen to see the video? Or
Yes, I did. And he wasn't lying. That is the story. That's what happened. And you know, I had helped train with him for that John Cena match at Mania in New Orleans, and it just so happened Michelle had the Rumble too. So when I saw it, I was like, what is happening? My life is moving so fast right now. I haven't been able to catch my breath since last week, you know? So
you know what? In the wrestling business, sometimes things just move at the speed of light. Sometimes they crawl, but it's a lot better when it goes fast. And it was so funny because me and Taker are sitting here last week. We're a half a bottle of Jack in. He's telling stories. We're breaking each other's chops. And all of a sudden, he points to the monitor in the studio, and he goes, look. And I'm like, what? And it made for horrible radio. Horrible radio, but the video was awesome. And he was like, look, it's Ricky Starks. And I popped. I'm like, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
And then he goes in and he starts telling the story about the gym in Texas and how you ask questions. And he was putting you over hard. Like, the Undertaker likes you.
Crazy. So crazy.
I'm going to say that again. The Undertaker likes you.
Well, you know, I'm a likable guy. I'm not,
like me, like Uncle Bully. I'm very likable.
I'm not surprised by that, okay? I'm not surprised at all.
And I thought that was a hell of a night for you because you debut here on NXT. We don't get the name last week, but between the debut and catching everybody off guard, and then you got Taker putting you over so hard. Let me ask you this. How difficult was it to keep your mouth shut about everything?
It's very easy. I'm a naturally I keep to myself type guy. So I was worried about other people saying something, which, I mean, not a lot of people knew. So not even my family didn't know. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a lie. I'm lying. My mom knew, but that's a given. So, you know, I thought that it was good to have an old school type of surprise, especially in this day and age. Everything is out there.
You shocked us.
Yeah. I saw the video. And he was like,
"Yep."
And it's so funny y'all are drinking Jack, huh?
Yeah.
I made a promise. Me and I told Taker this a long time ago, so I'll see if he remembers. But I said at the time I went to buy him a bottle, and just for like thanking him for letting me train and all this other stuff. And he was like, at the time he wasn't drinking because he was getting ready for the match. And I said, okay, well that's fair, but when I sign with WWE, can you and I do a shot? And he goes, okay. And we shook on it. So I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that shot.
So you're saying that the Undertaker owes you a shot?
Yeah. Obviously, I'm going to take care of the bill because, new money. But
you got that new money. You got that new money.
That's how it is. I'm going to take care of my people.
Well, maybe I can help broker that shot. And maybe we can take a photo of it. You guys doing a shot together, maybe right here on Busted Open After Dark. Who knows? But it was great for me to hear that story about you and having put you over. I remember the first time we had you on Busted Open when you were with the NWA.
Get yourself over a Monday.
Very good, Ricky.
Yeah.
Very good. That was during COVID, and I remember us talking here at Busted Open, and I said, let's do something for talent that's not that well known.
Yeah.
Where at least they can come on the show and, smarten up the fan base, maybe sell a T-shirt or something like that. Anything.
I remember
because
that.
COVID was so difficult, for everybody in the wrestling business, but it had to be harder for younger talent like yourself who wasn't working all the time and probably didn't have.
I just quit at NWA at the time.
And there you go. So that's right. You were one of the first guests on Get Yourself Over Monday.
Yeah, I couldn't remember who was before me, but that was a wild period because there was a lot of firsts for me. I was the first for Busted Open. I was the first for Cody's Open Challenge. COVID was a wild period that now looking back on, I'm like, oh my God, that's It's insane to think about.
Somehow we all made it through.
Absolutely.
All right. Ricky Saints.
Yes.
Ricky Saints.
Yes.
Tell me why Ricky Saints.
It's just a throwback to. It's not even a throwback because the New Orleans Saints are still around, but Saints in itself is pretty indicative of New Orleans, regardless. If you think of the football team, if you think of the French influence and things of that nature, and I mean it's as close as you're gonna get to Starks. So I like the name. It's I know a lot of people are gonna be. It's gonna take time for them to get used to it, and I respect that they care so deeply about me that they rebel against the name change. But at the same time, I am a product of New Orleans first and foremost, and I want to pay respect to that as well. And so
I like
that's
it.
what it was.
I don't think as many people are going to be as pissed off as you think. The minute your segment was over on NXT, I threw up a tweet. All right. And I said, what do you think of the name Ricky Saints? And I read the comments and people were like, I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. You get a douche nozzle every now and then, with 3 followers and a picture of SpongeBob saying it sucks and I hate myself, But for the most part, I think people dig it. And one of the things that we talked about this morning on Busted Open, me and LaGreca, was I liked your name. Okay, I thought there was equity in your name. I was like, hey, if he keeps the name, great. But I love what you just said about why you wanted the name change. And listen, new coat of paint, new name, nothing wrong with it, right? And it's very, very similar. Saints is a cool name. But we talked about the biggest name change that has happened recently in wrestling and how it has worked out really, really well. If you remember about a couple of years ago when Walter had his name stripped from him and was now called Gunther because, damn it, I want him to be named Gunther.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, this is horrible, this is awful, the kid's career is over, and now look at where Gunther is. So
for sure.
I think your choice of name was really good.
And I thank you. I really think, too, that it would have been different if I was named, Ricky Genevieve or something like that, right?
Something completely different.
Yeah, something so off. Or if my whole thing was changed. But I think this is the best of both worlds, and it's something that means a lot to me, too. Obviously, I think it's cool to have a piece of home with me. And the person doesn't change.
Right.
I'm still that guy. So it is what it is.
Talk to me about the moment you popped up in the crowd last week. Tell me about the emotional rush. Tell me if it was the same as in the past or if it was different. Give me that honest, raw feedback of what it felt like for you to be a part of the WWE in NXT.
Here's a funny story. Today is 8 years ago that I had my tryout. Today, 8 years ago.
Tryout here in WWE?
Yes.
To the day.
To the day.
Wow, that's amazing.
And so I had thought about that last week when I popped up, and it's hard to really explain because I've been through such a mind craze that I didn't know what I was expecting, and I didn't know what I was gonna feel. I will say this: when I went out there, natural. I've heard so many people tell me, "Man, when you're in the ring, it just looks natural to you. When you're holding the microphone, it just looks natural." And I think I am starting to believe this is what I should have been doing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So going out there in front of the crowd and then hearing the reaction go and people are like, whoa, wait a minute. I couldn't have imagined any better. Though I will tell you, I was ready to get it over with. Just rip it off, please.
Why?
Because it was too much. It was, I'm a very passionate person and I'm filled with a lot of emotions. And that is my superpower, the genuine emotion I have. You can always tell. It was so concentrated that it wasn't like nervousness or anything. I was so just concentrated in my gut with pure emotion. I was like, please, God, let's just get this done. I enjoyed it, but I hope you understand what I'm saying.
No, I do. I asked you why for a reason. I wanted to hear the answer, but I get it. Dude, I hated going on late on a show because I know that my energy is bottled, and when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. And when I have to try to push it down or hold off on it, it's almost impossible. It overtakes me.
Yes.
And I start to feel uncomfortable in my own skin. And so I get what you're saying. Like, I need to do this now.
Yeah.
Now. Get me out there now. I'm like a caged animal just ready to go out there. I totally get it. You walk into NXT, you're now working with, I'm going to talk about the talent in a second, but the guy who runs this joint is one of the greatest performers of all time.
Absolutely.
Shawn Michaels. You're now working with Shawn Michaels. I know your favorite wrestler is The Undertaker.
Yeah.
But The Undertaker, as he said here on After Dark, Shawn Michaels was his favorite opponent.
Yeah.
So you're getting to work with the guy, who's the favorite opponent of your guy.
Right.
Talk to me about working with Shawn.
You know, it's funny. Me and Shawn actually talked about the Mania match that Taker had, because I also asked Taker the same question. I was just like, hey, tell me, like, explain to me how that was. Like, I'm just so curious about you and Shawn and how you guys meshed so well. To work with Shawn is great because to be understood by somebody who was misunderstood is a feeling that you can't replicate. It is a great thing to have for me. And I think all along, and I've always said this, I just need the resources. I know. And I don't care. And this is another thing. I don't care how cocky I sound. I should be confident about myself. I should think highly of myself.
Ricky, humble doesn't sell tickets.
Thank you. And I don't even believe in that word. I am modest to a point, but I believe so highly in myself up until a certain point because I know that I have, like a squirrel, I've gathered so many resources, but there are some resources that I do not have. And I understand that he has them, and I understand that this person has them, and I understand that this place has it, right? So to get that all in once, to get that finally right now, and talk to Shawn and have him give me straight on pointers right then and there, that feedback loop of tell me what's wrong, let me fix it, is great. I can't ask for a better, you know what I'm saying? I can't ask for a better situation.
Sure. You just said a word that really resonated with me. Misunderstood. I know that I'm misunderstood, but I've come to terms with it. I accept it. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. How have you been misunderstood in pro wrestling?
I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like I'm a very passionate person. And sometimes people aren't really used to raw emotion. They don't know how to, they never dealt with it before. They don't know how to like kind of take that in. And that's a high energy that comes at you and you're not ready for it. Being misunderstood is seeing me like that and being like, he's difficult. If someone, you know what I'm saying, I'm not difficult.
You're talking to the king of difficult, brother.
It's just having a lot of things said about you that isn't true until you actually sit down and you talk and you go, okay, I get where he's coming from. All everyone needs is a pure explanation. That's a bad behavior. Let me explain to you why this person is doing X, Y, and Z. Boom, he doesn't have a bad behavior anymore. He's difficult. Let me explain to you why you may think that he's difficult and where he's coming from and why he's doing, you know what I'm saying? Explanation will always solve it. So to be misunderstood in wrestling is a terrible thing, but as you've known and you've probably seen, I don't buy into it. I will not sit up here and let somebody dictate how I should view my own self. Who are you? I should be proud of what I've done. I should be proud of the things that I'm going to accomplish. I should speak it out loud on the freaking mountaintops because I am the one putting in the work. I didn't kill my fucking self just because I have to listen to some guy tell me, hey, you think too highly of yourself, simmer down. Screw you. Screw you and everything about you because where I'm going to supersede anything that you've ever done. And that's how I feel about it.
And you've had somebody in this business look you in the eyes, tell you, you think too highly of yourself?
Absolutely. Even on the indies, I had it. You know what I'm saying? People who had done something, and it doesn't change. It doesn't change, and that's okay. It's. I'm not here to try to throw somebody under the bus and say, well, Ricky was told that he was too. No, what I'm saying is this for anyone. If you think highly of yourself, I am so proud of you. because you made it that far to come to that point where you love yourself enough to know your abilities, to know what you want to do, to know where you're going, right? Who is somebody to tell you, hey, calm down. Screw you, man.
No, well, people
Either
have
get on or get off.
Get in, get on, get off, get out. Get over or get the hell out of my
Exactly.
company. And I learned from the man years ago, from Vince McMahon, as he taught a lot of people, you need to have a little bit of an ego, and you need to be selfish. And like I said before, humble doesn't sell tickets.
No.
This business is full of egos. You know?
Yeah.
You have to have that chip on your shoulder. There's not one guy who's gotten to the top in this business who didn't have a chip on their shoulder. You have to have the swagger.
Yes.
And if you know somebody is genuine, like I know you're genuine, I know you're a good person, right? I can appreciate your ego and your swagger. Fuck humble.
Yes.
Humble don't get you to the top.
No.
And I'm looking forward to seeing that swagger out there. Let's talk about this new roster that you're going to be a part of. Let's talk about the talent here in NXT. I know that for years you worked in other companies, but I'm sure you kept your eye on this place.
Absolutely.
You came face to face with Ethan Page tonight. You're familiar with him. Talk to me about all the other talent here. What do you see in this current NXT roster that can help elevate Ricky Starks, or can Ricky Starks help elevate this roster?
I feel like anyone I work with, I help, and it's a two-way street on that. I see a lot of hunger. I see a lot of hunger and a lot of passion, and when two passionate people get together, you make nothing but magic. You know what I'm saying? They're like Javon Evans, like incredible talent. Oba, amazing trick.
Oof. Did you see Oba and Moose face to face tonight?
So
Oof.
it's too good. There's a lot of people. I know a lot of people here, obviously, but that's one thing that I can see amongst all the talent, even if they've been doing this for like a year or two. Well, you're passionate, so I can respect that. I don't care about how long you've been doing it. The fact you got passion is great, because that's a great start. We can get somewhere with that. I just think to be here now and to be in the place where I'm at in terms of me personally in my life, 14 years. Wow, now I get to play around other people who are just as passionate as I am. That's awesome. That's fun. That's really fun. You know what I'm saying? So I'm too excited about it. Of course, Wesley and Ethan I've known as well before, and I've wrestled them before, but it's a different feel to it.
I found it very interesting that you were sharing a ring with Ethan Page tonight.
Yeah.
I saw what it was for face value, but I also saw beneath the surface of what was going on, and I love it because you might have both been in places before you got to NXT that didn't give you the opportunities that you may have earned, or didn't utilize your talents to the best of your abilities. Mm-hmm. Tell me how this locker, I know you've only been here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much interaction you've had with everybody, but tell me how NXT differs from other places you have been, and have you been able to appreciate how well of an oiled machine this place is?
Yeah. I think above anything, you're going to have tenure is always going to be above a newer company, so to speak. And there's kinks that need to be worked out on any type of startup or anything like that. So what I'm seeing is a place that has already have developed a system, right? To be placed in a system is way different than being in the process of developing a system. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So what I'm seeing is a lot of like, you got a point A, you got a point B, you got a point C, you got a point D. There's always a contact for this. This is how this is connected to this one, and this is how it's like an insane moving assembly line where things are crossing over, but it all fits so perfectly, and you can see it and understand it. Go, oh, okay, A highway system is not good when we're just trying to figure it out. Well, which way do we want to go, right? We're going to get there, and there's a lot of improvements. But when you look at a well-oiled machine, when you see something fully developed, already have the kinks worked out, it's going to be totally different.
the WWE has had highs and lows, peaks and valleys for the 75 years that they've been in existence. They know how to get through the lean times, the bad times. They know what rock bottom feels like, and they know how to get themselves out of that. Other companies that have only been around for a short period of time or not run like this place is are doing it on the fly right now.
Yeah.
And especially if those companies are run by people who never sat under the learning tree of another great owner, a great booker, a great promoter. It's going to be a learning curve for them, a learning curve for the talent, the whole 9 yards. Been here for 2 weeks. Talk to me about the short-term goal. I know next week in Cincinnati, it's going to be you and Javon Evans versus Ethan Page and Wes Lee. You're going to be in action immediately.
Yeah.
All right?
No
So
time wasted.
you got a tag match. Talk to me about the short-term goals, though.
I'm not big on goals because they change literally every hour. But I will tell you this. The plan for me is to come in here, show exactly what everybody had been missing for the past 14 years. You know, you should have signed me in 2017. That's what you should have did. So I'm going to show exactly what WWE should have signed me in 2017.
All right, hold on. Put a pin in that. I want you to look in the mirror, and I want you to tell me why they didn't sign you in 2017.
Timing. Simply timing.
You think it was on them or on you?
It could have been on me for sure. But I can admit to the fact that the person that I was in 2017 is not the person that I am now. And I'm actually glad that it happened this way. So, but in my weird Michael Jordan brain, that's a big thing that I made up, you know?
Okay.
The plan, though, is to come in here and show exactly why I call myself absolute, why I am who I think I am. And not only that, but to then help out other people. You know what I'm saying? You have to lead by example. So that's going to be main eventing these PLEs. That's going to be winning the NXT championship. That's going to be the guy, me, Ricky Saints, who people go, wow, he really did come in here and turn this whole place upside down. He really did come in here and do all the things that he said he was going to do. Those are the current plans. And then whatever happens, happens. Then I move on, and then I take over WWE fully. And what I mean by that is I'm going to take over Netflix. I'm going to take over international markets. I'm going to collect on everything that I thought I should have a long time ago.
People, correct me if I'm wrong, but your charisma. People have said in the past you have a Rock-esque charisma.
Sure.
How do you feel when you hear that?
That's very endearing, but I think people love comparisons, right? And, you know, comparison is a thief of joy. You miss out on me fully if you do that. It's a great comparison, and people think that I'm trying to do this thing, and it's just, no, that's not. I always say, if anything, I'm taking from the people of New Orleans. This is just who I am. Like, if you talk to me off of this, you know that this is who I am.
Why do you come off more like a New Yorker than a New Orleans guy?
I feel like they're kind of the same sometimes.
Really?
I talk to people outside of New Orleans and New York, and I've always heard the comparison. It's like New Orleans, New York, and Boston.
Don't ever put New York and Boston.
I figured you were going to say that.
I
knew it.
Don't make me throw you off my
I was
show.
waiting for that. I knew that was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen.
Let's say, you obviously, tag match next week, Cincinnati. You work your way up the ranks here.
Yes.
And you're standing across from Obafemi.
Let's run it.
No intimidation whatsoever.
None.
You can hang with him.
Absolutely. If Shawn could hang with Undertaker, if Shawn wasn't intimidated by Undertaker, what's the difference?
I love the comparison, and I love the guts, the chutzpah. That's good. Chutzpah. It's an old Yiddish word. Long-term goals. In wrestling, slow and steady wins the race. You just got here. Do you want to hang here and accomplish everything you can possibly accomplish before you say there's no more left to do here, now I want to get to Raw or SmackDown? Or if the opportunity presented itself in a month, are you taking it?
Absolutely, I would. We got New Orleans, supposedly rumored, right? WrestleMania next year in New Orleans. Did you read about that?
I did hear the rumor.
I heard about the rumor as well. If the rumor is true, that is my goal, to wrestle in the Superdome. That's all I want, and I'm gonna make it happen. Now, if that opportunity presents itself, I don't know, a month from now, and then that's the lead up to it, I'm taking it. But either way, if it's a month or if it's 12 months, whatever the case may be, the impact of me and NXT will be felt. There is no doubt about that.
You said you didn't love the goal thing because they always change, but that's a pretty significant moment right there, a pretty significant goal. If WrestleMania next year is in New Orleans at the Superdome, your hometown,
Yes.
you need to be on that show, don't
Yeah, it's
you?
already happened. I'm already on it.
Done.
Yeah. When I watched Taker versus John Cena, I said, this will be the only time that I watch from a suite. And this will be, the next time I'm here will be me wrestling at the Superdome. We talk about goals, sure. That's already a thing that's already happened. I'm just telling you in advance. That's all.
So when you are working WrestleMania next year in New Orleans in the Superdome, we'll be able to come back and play.
Play the clip.
I love it. I love it. He completes my sentences. I love it. All right. What happened? And when I say what happened, I want to know
Where did it all change? Probably.
what happened in the company you were previously with, because when you first started there,
was
everything seemed to be going really, really well, and then all of a sudden things were not going really, really well anymore. The floor is yours. What happened?
There are situations that arise that, let me say this. There could be a bunch of things that kind of culminated, right? I don't know the specifics of what it was. Some people, you ask the internet, it was because you were at the Rumble. First off, screw you. The footage got leaked from me being at the Rumble. I wasn't backstage. I was just simply visiting someone who was an hour away. And not only that, I left after the first match. Okay? Some could say, well, you were at Mania in a suite and you got on camera cheering. Screw you. You're an idiot with no friends and no passion in life if you think the damnedest thing that I've done is cheering somebody on at another company. Well, bad optics. You're blind. You don't know what you're talking about because my boss was okay with it. Okay? I've already said this before. He was already okay with it. I can't tell you exactly what the moment was. You could say it was Punk leaving and things kind of fell apart. Absolutely. I probably agree with you on that, right? Or you could say is that Ricky didn't play the politics well enough. Okay, for sure.
A lot of politics in that company?
I'm not saying there's a lot of, just as much as any other company probably.
Fair enough.
But you could say that I maybe didn't protect myself in that way. There's so many things that you can say. What I can say for myself is that when I got hurt in March, that was it. I never came back. And even then I wasn't hurt. It was a precaution thing where I got scared because I had a stinger. So I said, and then I was fine. After that, no dice, no communication, no nothing. And that is okay because if someone was mad at me, and the reason I say it was okay because I ended up here. And it's fine. Everything worked out. I don't know explicitly where it went wrong. I can't point to one thing. I can say that it was a storm of things, probably. Did I do something that may have tipped them off? Sure. Asking for my release whenever this past whatever, that could have been about it, right? But never once was I not willing to do something. Never once was I sabotaging anything, right? What I think it probably was, if you give me that point, is there's probably things said to him from other people maybe. I don't know.
If you had to make an educated guess,
Gun to my head, educated guess what it was
it personal or professional?
It was probably personal. It probably was personal. Because it was professional, it wouldn't have happened this way, right? That's how I believe it.
Okay.
And that's not to disparage anybody there. Just so we're clear, I already know how this is going to be taken. There's nothing disparaging for me to say. What I am saying is the truth that I don't know exactly what it was. And if you point to those 2 times that I was caught on footage at WWE, I can tell you you're wrong. I can tell you you're wrong. Some people will say, we could tell that he was phoning in. Bullshit. There's never a match of mine in my entire career that I gave less than 1,000%. You can jump off a cliff with that opinion because it's not even real. Don't disrespect me and say that I gave something less than 1,000%. That is not in my bone. There's no part of my body that I am capable of doing that. So it is what it is, right? There are situations that will probably pop up again when it comes to, let's say, politicking, right? And guys putting their nose in businesses that doesn't belong. I will say this. There are some people who stuck their nose in my creative business that shouldn't have happened.
Okay.
All right?
Younger wrestlers or veterans?
Veterans.
Okay.
And that's it. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Fine.
And if they got a problem with me, they got my number. And text me about it. So with that being said, I'm glad to be here.
Can I ask you this? You said that there were veterans that had a problem with your creative. Was it your creative direction, or was it like a Punk Jack Perry situation?
No.
Okay.
I think what it was is that if it didn't work for their creative, then someone had to get the boot.
Oh,
you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's how I see it. But I'm not trying to be negative in my thought process about it. But I do think that for sure. And that is okay. Like, that's fine. If you want to step on me to get ahead in your illustrious career, everyone has an illustrious career. Everyone should have an illustrious career. That is perfectly fine. But at the same time, I'm not I'm not wet behind the ears.
Ricky, real quick, me on my own, me and Devon together, we have never asked for our release from a company in our career. I don't know what it's like to ask for a release.
Bet on yourself.
But here, my thing is, we have always, our contracts came to an end, and then both sides decided we didn't want to move forward, whether that was ECW, WWE, any company. So I want to know, what's it like to come to that moment in time where you say to yourself, all right, I made up my mind. I'm asking for my release.
It's like trying to find love in the same place that you lost it. It's just not possible.
Wow.
It's not possible. At a certain point, it's not possible. At a certain point, you have to be honest with yourself. And that's where I was at with it.
Is it scary?
No. And I'm going to tell you why. Any decision I make, I've already gone through the consequences of it in my head. I have always betted on myself. I betted on myself with NWA when I left. I betted on myself with this situation. I will always bet on myself. I will always think highly of myself.
Yep.
Okay? I have gotten here 14 years on my own. Didn't have a handout nor a name to put a good word in for me. Everything was done by me, by myself, and that's how it's going to be until I'm dead. So, no, it wasn't scary. What it was this was just at the point that only made sense to me. Hey, nothing's happening. Let's just be done. Let's just quietly be done. And then for some reason, all my information gets leaked. So,
Well, everybody's information. Telephone, telegraph, tele-wrestler.
Yeah,
you know the deal. Listen, as we're wrapping up here tonight, the WWE universe, whether it's NXT, whether it's the main roster, what can they expect from you? If you're talking to somebody right now who's never seen Ricky Saints in their life, what can they expect from you?
You're about to get an absolute experience, point blank.
KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. I loved it. Ricky, thank you very much for joining me here tonight. I really enjoyed our chat. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. I've seen you evolve over the years. I love your passion. I love your attitude. I love the chip because I think the chip comes from the right place. I think you're going to be very successful here in NXT. I think when your day comes and you do get called up to the main roster, it's like getting it thrown into the deep end of the great white tank, and that's where you truly evolve in this business. I've been saying it for the longest time. to younger talent, until you get here, you don't understand the wrestling business like it is when you learn here.
Yeah.
One of my best, moments was with AJ Styles, because AJ was like the Osprey and the Omega back in the day. And I remember being in TNA with AJ, and guys like me or Booker would say, you got to get to the WWE. Once you get to the WWE, you're going to learn how to bring this all together.
Yeah.
And then years later, they have, a guy like AJ go, hey, guys, you were right. Yeah. It's amazing. I think you're going to do so well. So I wish you absolute nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you.